Coming up on this week's news, the Microgeneration Certification Scheme is set for the biggest shakeup in its history. An industry leader slams electricians for using certificates as a weapon to get paid, and a 21-year-old tourist is taking legal action after receiving an electric shock from a floodlight in a London park. Welcome to Electrical News Weekly in association with Solar Trade Sales, your easy one-stop shop for all things solar. Make sure you click the link in the show notes to access their online store. Whether you're listening in the van, on site or down at the wholesale counter, I'm Joe Robinson and I've been through the best of the electrical industry news to save you the trouble. And this week's challenge word competition is supported by the good people at Brady. If you need a label, they've got a printer and so much more. If you think you've spotted the two words I've been challenged to slip into this week's show, comment with them below for the chance to win a prize, and while you're there, click the link to check out the Brady range of printers. The Microgeneration Certification Scheme, or MCS, is set for a major shake-up next month. EFIX understands that the changes are in response to criticism that membership is too bureaucratic for electricians. The MCS says it wants to cut paperwork and instead focus on evidence of quality installations for customers. First off, the requirement to be a member of a consumer code will be dropped. Another major change is that the frequency of your assessments will now depend on what MCS is calling your risk of non-compliance. That's because, as an MCS certified installer, you must also be a member of a certification body such as NAPIT. These certification bodies conduct regular assessments of your operations to ensure you can competently install technologies such as solar panels and battery packs. Installers whose MCS operations are relatively simple and who've satisfied customers and few complaints will be rewarded with less assessments. Installers with more complex operations, such as those involving lots of subcontractors and whose projects are found to be poor, will be assessed more often. MCS says it will also specify the contents of each rating rather than leave it to individual inspectors. There will be a new requirement for a named technical supervisor for every job. This replaces the current requirement for a nominated technical person. The technical supervisor will be the person who's qualified to sign off a completed job. The MCS is also responding to critics in the trade who say it's not clear what processes and controls it requires of its members. The organisation says it will unveil detailed guidance in the new year so installers know exactly how to comply. It says that if you follow its procedures, you won't need to subscribe to a software platform to ensure your MCS certification. While the new scheme launches in January, you'll need to carry on with your current requirements until your certification body gives you the option to transfer. This includes maintaining membership of a consumer code for now. MCS Chief Ian Rippin says the new scheme is designed to be more accessible, fairer, and less focused on paperwork. While the MCS says its service is helping to drive up projects such as solar installations, the PV industry says it's facing a growing threat: cable theft. Deter Tech, a provider of security for critical infrastructure, says there's been a surge in cable thefts from solar farms and battery storage facilities. Data compiled from its crime intelligence unit reveals that over 750 kilometres of cable were stolen from solar farms in the UK between January and August this year. Many of the sites were repeatedly targeted by organised criminals soon after cables were replaced. Deter Tech says the prevalence and scale of cable theft from solar farms has never been higher. In the first 8 months of 2024, over 70 theft incidents were reported at solar sites. A fifth of these involved cable thefts of at least 20 kilometres in length. Europe faces a similar situation, says the firm, with an estimated 5,000 major solar thefts occurring annually, including 400 in Germany alone. The culprit appears to be organised criminal gangs. Deter Tech recommends fast and effective detection and escalation to protect installations and avoid downtime. In other news, an industry leader has slammed electricians who use electrical installation certificates as a weapon to get paid. Bob Kearney, Director of Technical Services at Scottish electrical trade body Select, told Fix Radio that certification was an area which is generally misunderstood by both contractors and their clients. He said the organisation sometimes receives customer complaints when certification of projects is withheld by its members in lieu of final payment. Kearney says Select tries to enlighten its members that this should not happen. He says compliance with standards actually involves the issuing of the certificates as necessary verification. He also discussed what he termed the uncomfortable truth that anyone can be an electrician without proper training and qualification. He says everyone Select speaks to about this is shocked that electricians aren't regulated. Anyone can set up in business as an electrician or electrical contractor in the UK. They can carry out work in people's homes without having completed an electrical installation apprenticeship or even having any relevant qualifications. Kearney says that you couldn't do this if you want to shoe a horse as a farrier, or act as a nightclub bouncer, or even be a street sweeper. These activities are all regulated and their title is protected, but not electricians. Select says it's continuing its 10-year campaign to get protection of title for the profession. If they're successful, hopefully that'll sort out some of the worst dunderheads in the trade. The lack of status is echoed in a survey out this week which reveals that out of all trades, the one that wants to emigrate the most is electricians. Researchers at TradeFix Direct crunched the numbers to see who was seeking jobs abroad. Australia is the most popular country for electricians, with Canada and Ireland coming in second and third respectively. After electricians, the trades that want to up sticks the most are plumbers and carpenters, who are no doubt longing to apply their craft on the majestic native sycamores overseas. The least likely to seek work overseas are landscapers. Part of the reason for the gloom could be late payments in the UK. It's estimated that electrical contractors are owed an average of £3,942 each at the end of this year. Research from Ford Pro reveals they're paid on average 35 days late. The car brand's commercial division conducted the research after the issue of delayed or missing payments was reported as the major issue facing sole traders heading into 2025. 1 in 5 UK tradespeople are even relying on payday loans to pay their household bills. The same amount are worried about supporting their family heading into the end of the year. Tradespeople are owed a staggering £3.5 billion in collective overdue payments. For instance, Arlo Masters, a lighting technician from North London, tells us that he's waiting on payments of around £3,500 from various customers. Some of it dates back 6 months. He says it leaves him in a difficult position as he also has to pay other trades that he's brought into a job. Masters says a few £100 doesn't seem like much to many clients, but to sole traders, it can make a huge difference. Observers say not all subcontractors are in a position to take legal action from a financial and relationship point of view. Meanwhile, one person who is taking legal action this week is a 21-year-old tourist who received a serious electric shock in a London park. The electric shock at St James's Park next to Buckingham Palace put Latvian national Anastasia Grigorieva in intensive care, and she says left her with memory problems. Grigorieva was visiting her sister in London in July when her leg fell through the grate of a ground-level spotlight and touched a live electrical cable. She stopped breathing and became unresponsive, prompting police officers to use a defibrillator. The young sightseer was then taken to St Thomas's Hospital, where she was kept in intensive care for 4 days. When she woke up, her sister says she had changed, experiencing outbursts of anger and behaving more impulsively. She believes Grigorieva received a brain injury from the experience. The family is now suing the body responsible for the location. Its solicitor Magdalena Knez of Osborne's Law says the Royal Parks has a responsibility to make sure its sites are safe for users. A Royal Park spokesperson said he was not able to comment on individual legal cases, but wanted to reassure the public that St James's Park provides a safe environment for all. Big thanks to Baltic Electric for sending that story in to us. If you too come across a story that you think merits being featured in the news, then submit it at the press release link in the show notes. Now, while we're on the subject of lighting, our most recent question of the week was taken from the free training package we made in association with Ludum Palazzoli, in which we exploded a few myths surrounding the electrical industry. One of the videos in that module was on the subject of maximum demand and asked the question, what is the updated recommended power value per lamp holder for a lighting circuit according to the electrical design guide? The correct answer is 30 watts, which I think is still a bit too high, and as it happens, 48% of respondents on YouTube got it right, which was better than LinkedIn, which came in at just 30% correct. So wherever you're watching, check out that free training package by clicking the link in the show notes. In product news, Legrand has unveiled a new cable tray range which is designed to be easily adapted to demanding locations. CableBend is a steel wire system that's configurable by hand to allow for changes in cable direction. This minimises the need for cutting or for buying extra accessories. It's available in 3 heights and widths between 100mm and 600mm. HIKMICRO has unveiled a mini thermal camera for mobile phones. The firm says it's great at spotting potential problems such as loose connections, overheating cables and damaged fuses. The Mini E connects to Android or iPhones and tablets and includes a flexible 60cm extension cable for hard-to-reach areas. It allows you to detect even subtle temperature differences across a wide range up to 400 degrees C. Our favourite launch this week, though, is what its maker Simmons Signs is calling a light tile. It's a light-emitting sign that's just 7mm thin, which is designed for mounting on road surfaces. The LED tile can display words such as stop and 20 miles an hour, or graphics such as arrows. It's triggered by thermal cameras, traffic lights and speed radar. Expect to start seeing it on British roads in 2025. And our usual reminder that we'd like to hear about your stories, your projects and your recommendations, as we'd like to share them with the wider eFix community. Send us pictures of your installs or let us know if you've come across any new kit that's making your job easier. Now, just before we get to your favourite bit of the show where I reveal last week's challenge words and winners, we want to thank our premium partners. We couldn't make the news without you. First up, it's the people who've created the Swiss Army knife of solar inverters along with all-weather batteries. Very much the Boy Scouts of the solar industry, it's SunSync. The best thing to come out of Yorkshire since stainless steel, the home of EV Ultra and other groundbreaking and quality products, it's Doncaster Cables. With an incredible range of equipment from EV charge points through industrial sockets and switches to kit for explosive areas, plus they supplied gear for a Campari factory, so they'll always have a place in my heart, it's Scarmy. Big thanks to you all, we really appreciate your ongoing support for the news. Now, if you think you know the words that I've smuggled into this week's show, pop your guess into the comments. We'll take all the correct guesses and select one at random to be the winner of an eFix goodie bag prize. Answers submitted after about lunchtime on the Thursday after release will not be entered into the draw. Now let's reveal the winners of last week's challenge word competition, as sponsored by Brady. Remember, if you need a label, they've got a printer and so much more. Click the link in the description to view their incredible range. Last week's words were manhandle and constellation, and the first name to come out of our electronic hat was Chicken Wizzy. Chicken Wizzy? I can't imagine that's your government name, but very well done to you, Chicken, I guess. Click the Get Involved link in the show notes to claim your prize. Thanks for listening to this episode of Electrical News Weekly in association with Solar Trade Sales, your easy one-stop shop for all things solar. Remember to click the link in the show notes to check out their online shop. And as this is the last episode of 2024, I just wanted to say thanks for your input, thanks for your comments, thanks for your support over the year. We've garnered over 1.3 million views on YouTube alone, plus our other platforms as well, which is kind of mind-blowing when you reflect on it. But you make that happen, and the show would be nothing without you, dear viewers and listeners. Thanks also to the brands that have sponsored and supported us this year. You keep the lights on here at ENW, and we really appreciate that. Thanks as well to Joe 2.0 for all the backroom stuff and thumbnails, Gordon for always finding juicy stories, Gary for the relentless promotion, and of course to our esteemed scriptwriter Ray Maloney. This really is a team effort. So to all, I hope you get some much needed time off over the next couple of weeks. We don't know what 2025 will bring, but we'll be here every Monday keeping you posted on what's new, exciting and occasionally mystifying about the electrical industry. So make sure you're subscribed to receive the next update. Thanks for listening, and until next year, have a great break. Stay safe out there, and remember, there's no such thing as a torque calibrated up.